Hello and welcome to another episode of the Loresworn Order's playthrough of the Battlefield 1 War Stories campaign. I am TJ Hafer, and with me is resident World War I buff, reader of many World War I nonfiction books, and generally cool World War I dude, DM Schmeier.
Glad to World War Wiggity 1 be here, bud.
Alright, yeah, we're gonna be playing the Friends in High Places campaign this time, and since I'm already such an amazing pilot in video games, and we didn't feel like it would be fair to the other side, so we went ahead and grabbed some old-fashioned American moonshine.
Okay. Or another thing we figured is it couldn't hurt. So,
right, yeah. So, this will be...
There's not too much further down to go, so this is going to be really interesting.
This is going to be like a hybrid Battlefield 1 / After Dark episode.
We are... to Europe, I've
Let's
never seen an aeroplane in real life.
say.
High above, they twisted and turned like flocks of birds dancing. There was a romance around the pilots, these new swashbucklers of the skies. But the reality was, most of these brave young men would eventually end up back on the ground in twisted smoking wrecks.
So, a primer. By the way, we are the Loresworn Order, and we're glad to be here, guys. We're having a lot of fun. It's been a crazy week. We're glad to be back with you.
Oh yeah.
So, air power in World War I.
You might want to scoot your earphone back because you're talking really, really loud. It's going to be spiking the microphone.
Oh, no worries.
Ready?
All right. So, we're glad to be back. You know, it's been a crazy week. We're happy to be back doing what we do here at LSO, which is making great gameplay videos and great content with our own twist on things. And without further ado, I'm going to dive into it a little bit.
Go for it.
So, air power in World War I. Yeah, it's... You gotta realize, guys, that the Wright brothers and their first plane was not too much before this, you know? This is a fairly new invention. It made incredible strides. One of the things that needs to be realized and needs to be comprehended to fully understand the sort of amazing culture and breathtaking military brutality that these came to symbolize in this conflict is that most people wrote off the airplane as a cool invention. You know, man had defied the gravity that kept him shackled to the earth, but one that was going to be so expensive and so difficult to replicate that it would just never become a factor, shows what they know. And just so rapidly, this technology was made more affordable, was enhanced. I mean, Casey's dreaming about flying right now, I'm sure.
She is, yeah. I don't know if you can hear her, but she is going nuts.
Chasing some squirrels in her sleep.
Chasing some dream squirrels, yeah.
So, one of the things that came into the mind's eye of commanders and such in 1914, really, was that these would be incredibly useful vehicles for recon. We're going to scout enemy troop movements, enemy artillery positions, sketch their lines, make precise battlefield maps from the air, where once a certain altitude is achieved, especially in 1914, before this was commonplace, you're invincible. There's not a single weapon in 1914.
When did, the first anti-aircraft guns come onto the scene?
Well, World War I.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Specifically, like, the kind of anti-aircraft guns that became the bane of fighters everywhere, that was more of a World War II thing. But again, we're talking about World War I as this proto-embryonic conflict for so much of what would come after. It all finds its origins here. And so what happens? I mean, just to draw the academic exercise, you're using planes to gather incredibly vital information about enemy positions, enemy movements, and you're using that to hurt them. What's the next step?
Shoot down the scouts.
Exactly. And if you can't do that with guns from 5,000 feet below them, how do you have to do it?
You launch your own planes.
And you shoot the other planes down, right? The fighter aircraft. It makes perfect sense. So, one of the biggest problems, though, with the whole fighter aircraft thing is, well, one of the things that the plane needed to stay aloft was this thing called a propeller. And if you shot through the propeller, you'd go down fast.
I actually read about this studying World War II, not World War I, and I was amazed that they figured out how to do this.
So that's called the Fokker device, right?
Yeah.
It's a Dutch, I believe he was a Dutch machinist, invented a timing gear that helped a machine gun time shots through the rotation of the propeller blades, which was very superior to what fighter-to-fighter combat in the early days of the war was, which was literally a pilot and a dude in the back seat with a shotgun or a Tommy gun. I'm being completely serious here, trying to shoot down recon planes.
That's pretty hardcore, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty hardcore.
And incredibly ineffective, like spectacularly so.
Yeah.
But the Fokker device, the Fokker gear, not to be mistaken for the Ben Stiller character in the classic Meet the Parents, changed ship-to-ship combat. And it was the Germans who did it first. They were the first ones to really implement this device on their planes, to implement effective fighter aircraft, and, by the way, to train effective fighter pilots. And in the days of 1916, late 1915, Germany took a decisive edge in the air war. I mean, decisive.
Yeah.
For basically a little more than an entire year, the Germans reigned almost completely supreme. We just couldn't keep up. Manfred von Richthofen, Hess, like these pilots became these legendary symbols, and because they were occupying a function heretofore unseen in war before, they became almost mythical. They kept score sheets of the planes they would shoot down and the enemy pilots they would kill. But, as is such things, as was with the tank, the Allies responded. They caught on. They did a better job of training their pilots, building their planes, installing their devices so they could shoot. And then the air war was on in earnest.
So we're going to be playing as the Royal British Flying Corps, as a volunteer.
Yep. Most pilots were volunteers, actually, because there weren't pilots.
That's true. It wasn't really a
That's
profession.
what it's saying. There were no pilots, and these people often had no formal training.
There wasn't even really commercial aviation in any form at this point, was there? Yeah.
No. We were still seafaring people, as far as 99.99% of our.
So do you know anything about the Bristol F-2A, the plane we're going to be flying?
I know it was an early fighter.
Okay.
I'm curious to actually see it. Maybe I'll recognize it.
Well,
I know it was an early fighter, an early biplane.
A lot of people in our YouTube comments have been able to provide a lot of specific details about equipment that we don't actually know ourselves, so I'm sure they'll help us out with that.
Industrial.
So German Air Force dominates the Western Front, like you said, with a range of superior aircraft and a roster of famed ace pilots. Each claiming scores of kills. We are struggling to compete. Most replacement pilots have experience of less than 10 hours. Wow. I'm trying to think how much
the average lifespan of an Allied pilot was 17 days. That stayed true pretty near to the end of the war.
Wow.
Some are effective, some are not. That's true. And that's part of their sort of swashbuckling legendary mien that they developed, is the risk they were taking. If you tried a new technology or a new strategy or a new way of thinking and it wasn't good, that's the end of your life, more likely than not. So to become an ace, you not only had to have a small measure of talent, no small measure of talent, you had to have balls that were bigger than the battlefront itself. And I stand by that. These dudes are some of the ballsiest mofos that ever fought in war. World War I pilots.
You idiot. The plane.
That's rich. Oh, why the hell not? I've got you beaten anyway.
Yeah.
What have you got? Wipe your mouth, Blackburn.
That wasn't supposed to happen. But I'll be taking that plane anyway.
What the bloody hell? You lost. I beat you.
The thing is, Rackham, it's a very beautiful aeroplane, and you're kind of a jackass.
I beat you fair and square, goddammit! Stay the hell away from my kite! Oh, you bastard! You can't do this to me! I beat you! I beat you!
My name's Clyde Blackburn. I'm a pilot and a gambler.
I'm George Rackham! I'm George bloody Rackham! Listen to me! You bastard! Keep off my aeroplane!
If you asked me to name my biggest fault, I'd have to tell you. I'm just not a very honest person.
All right.
There we go.
Welcome aboard. I'm Will Wilson, by the way. You must be George Rackham.
Sure, I'm Rackham. I'm your guy.
It doesn't sound British at all.
Blood. Let's get this.
Do you notice something kind of similar about that cockpit? Something familiar? How
Son of the fourth
eerily
Earl
similar it is to early airplanes or early automobiles.
Oh,
A lot
yeah.
of the technology was the same because we didn't have an alternative here.
Oh wow!
The
Look at
crystal
that.
was
Oh,
everything
man.
it was advertised to be. A pure joy to fly. It was a crisp, sunny day, and everything would have been
Down in the
perfect
Alps, it
had
looks
I
like?
only been alone.
Hard to say, because this isn't going to
I
be
don't
a
know
event.
if these kind of.
So you see, he's got a gunner.
Hey back there. It's a great day for a picnic, don't you think?
We'll try not to stall this thing out.
You need to catch up with it.
All right.
Yeah. So listen, I know this little French place. Maybe we pick up a couple of girls.
Okay, so that's accelerate.
Girls, this is a test flight. You need to follow the route that plane is setting for you.
Okay, you're the boss, apparently.
Freshly deployed to the front. We need to find out what this thing is capable of.
Yep. A successful design, one of the few successful aircraft designs that stuck.
By the way, unfortunately,
Get a feel for the yoke. Stay close on his
Battlefield
tail.
1 does not have joystick controls yet, so I went ahead and plugged in a 360 pad for this. Because
It looks like you're in control.
I know from playing multiplayer that steering these planes with the mouse is not all that fun.
Hang on, we
So you see that
Whoa!
relax. I've
you
got
see
this.
that the Bristol hauls and is extremely maneuverable.
For a World War I plane, anyway.
Well, yeah, but look at you got to keep in mind the technological advancement that's at play here, right?
Uh-huh.
The Wright brothers, man, how long ago were they?
What was that, 1914 was their first flight, I want to say?
I want
could
to
be
say,
wrong.
yeah, I wanted to say 13, but
Let's see how she handles
I think it was 19-something teen.
yeah, not long ago is my point. I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
that date off the top of my head. My apologies. I don't have anything in front of me. I'd look it up if I did. It wasn't long ago. So the designs and what they're capable of is just the curve. The curve for aeronautical advancement in this era is, I think, one of the more drastic in the history of technology. You've kind of got to say it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Less throttle means you can make tighter turns.
Okay, gotcha. So
Don't
throttle
let it get
down to
away.
make tight
Let's
turns.
see what else he's got.
Just stay with him.
I'm having fun. You having fun yet, Wingnut?
It's Wilson, and pay attention. Eyes forward.
Stay
I'm
with
just
him.
wondering why this guy is not at all concerned that I have a blatant Yankee accent. I'm supposed to be a British pilot.
Good flying,
Right.
though some of it wasn't exactly by the book.
So toss the damn book and live a little. Where's he going now?
Leave him. See those target balloons? Weapons check. Fire at will.
I can do that.
Alright, right trigger is fire. Should probably get flying straight here.
Yeah.
This is one heck of a kite.
There are still more balloons. Move in and fire.
Roger that.
Can you imagine what that feeling would have been like? Being
Oh,
the
yeah.
first human beings to do this.
Especially if you were born into a world where that was thought like inconceivable. Like flying through the air at great speed. Like these people were probably born, you know, not long after the Civil War.
You see those targets on the ground?
Well,
Yeah, I see.
30 years after the Civil War.
Oh,
give or
that's
take.
not long in a
Yeah,
historical sense.
they were born before the plane was invented, for absolute certain.
Climb a little before engaging a ground target. Yeah, that's actually very sound advice. So this is no IL-2 Sturmovik. This is definitely not a flight simulator.
No.
But it's got some weightiness to it. I appreciate that they didn't make the planes overly easy to control.
Well, yeah, because they weren't.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the last one.
I've played a good
Can I ask a question? Sure.
good
Why
few.
does George Rackham, son of the 4th Earl of Windsor, sound like an American?
There we go.
I pick up accents easily. Probably be speaking French by the time we got to Jerry's Beat.
I see.
You're a suspicious man, Wilson. Has anyone ever told you that?
Yeah, I've played a fair few combat flight sims in my day,
Christ.
so I should be decent at this.
What do
So
you
the
think?
triplane.
We shoot him down.
Just an alternative design.
Does it have any distinctive advantages over the biplane?
I want to say stability, but I don't know for sure.
What the
Jerry's playing for keeps. Hold on.
bloody hell?
He was closer than he looked.
Oh, this is fun. This is just a lot of fun.
Well, you got to keep in mind, and the thing to watch, guys, the thing to remember, air combat was not efficient here.
Sign up for this.
At these speeds, aim was not a thing. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
had to chase targets down, outthink them. It was like a game of chicken in the sky. You had to corner your quarry and be more aggressive
Ugh.
than him.
I don't think I would have survived that impact.
Neither of you would have.
Yeah.
Line. They're trying to get behind us.
I'm not flying in a straight line.
So, remember, what is the principle of dogfighting? You gotta pick prey and hunt it. If you worry about how you're outnumbered, bad things will happen to you. Pick one and take him on.
Alright, let's follow this guy.
There you go. You gotta do it one at a time.
Was there any institutional continuity between the German Air Forces in World War I and the Luftwaffe in World War II?
I mean, the pilots and a lot of the mechanics corps, but these planes were outdated so fast.
Yeah.
You've got to keep in mind that also institutional continuity is kind of a relative term, given the utter collapse of Germany after the Treaty of Versailles.
Right, which is why I was curious.
But you have to realize that every pilot, too, not every pilot, but you know what I mean. These men formed. I don't really think there were female pilots. I'll just say these men. They formed sort of the nucleus of what would become the airplane pilot population after the war. You know, where else are you going to get this kind of experience? Where? You can repair the vehicle.
Apparently, in mid-flight.
Interesting. I wonder how that works.
I think it's just a game mechanic.
Has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those.
This is really bloody dangerous.
It is.
All right, you're doing a ton of damage, so it'll add up. You'll shoot these things out of the sky. A lot of them are smoking. No, you want to know one of the things that made like Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, Eddie Rickenbacker so dangerous, such accomplished aces? Their aggressiveness. Apparently, the game of aerial brinksmanship that forms the essence of dogfighting in this era, those men just wouldn't blink. They'd go nuts. Yeah, down he goes. Or he should be.
There we go.
Yep.
We got one on our tail, though. It'd be nice. Thank you. Thank you for the assist there.
Yeah. That's all that's keeping this realistic, by the way. The fact that we are not alone makes this plausible. Not to mention we're in the Bristol, which is a superior aircraft. But not being alone is a big deal.
There's only one left.
Alright, where is he?
We call them wingmen for a reason, right?
Did the fact that they painted their planes red play any role in them getting shot out of the air?
Well,
seems like-
aircraft casualties were so tremendous. Like, it didn't matter who you fought for.
Yeah.
This was just not a very safe occupation to have during this conflict.
Another one down.
Oh, there we go.
Too close for comfort.
You can say that again.
Ooh.
Ooh, what happened?
Was that the engine? Giving her the gun might have thrown something off. Repair what you can from up front.
We'd already figured that out. You didn't really need to give us a tutorial objective.
More cherries! I see them! Hang on to your knickers!
I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to switch to cockpit view, but I don't know if there is.
Alright. Oh, well, you got him in a line. Good call.
Take these fools down.
I mean, this is a dose of realism. It was hard to aim. It was hard to fight.
Yeah.
That's why aces became so mystified, man. Not everyone was good at this. They died fast. Had very little training. You're doing plenty of damage. I would repair, though.
Yeah, let's try to keep this thing flying.
Fritz doesn't give up easily, does he?
Wouldn't have it any other way.
You're picking at him too, which is a way some dogfights would go. It's like you don't get them on the first pass. You don't get them the first time you line up guns.
There's really no like avionics or anything, so I'm just trying to get out of the way and then find a target. That's really what I'm doing. Like, there we go. That's one down. LB is repaired. Put out some fires on the dashboard or something, I guess is what I'm doing.
Alright, let him pass you. And then take the angle. He's helping you too, which is nice.
He is.
It's also realistic.
I still haven't fully gotten the hang of this control scheme yet. So all the left stick is really being used for is the throttle. Alright, we got one.
Oh, and you're caught in some kind of crossfire. They're using hunter-killer tactics.
Yeah, you're not kidding about it's not being easy.
Well, it wasn't. And what that should do is that should paint appropriate historical context for what it meant to be an ace, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, these dudes were the baddest of the bad. We're talking Michael Jackson bad. Around about the time he published the hit single Bad. Thereby doubly reinforcing my point about badness. Yep, you're just doing your damage. You're taking your pieces.
Oh wow. That's cool. So we can actually see behind us.
Because what's different in these planes from Planes of the Future, man? You can turn around.
There you go.
Like you're in a car going in reverse, man. You can just tilt your head, see what's going on. You know what's not helping?
This guy is really outmaneuvering me here.
You know, one of the things that's not helping us is our backup back there with his gun is Wilson, and Wilson is a terrible shot, based on what I can see right here.
Not impressed, really. Trying to use the mountain for cover, but it's just getting me shot up worse. So those rockets we were firing off at the ground targets, is that something that they had in World War I?
Not to a terribly high degree of sophistication, not like the game mechanics are displaying. But yes, I mean, you would just have a couple of them and you'd be out.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of how it works now. The F-22 can't carry that many high explosives. I think that's always been a limitation of fighter aircraft for the most part.
When you got fighter aircraft is mainly for ship-to-ship combat. So you're doing what you're doing right now, right? Now imagine doing, I mean, obviously this wasn't a huge thing in World War I, but imagine doing what you're doing in the context of escorting a fleet of bomber aircraft.
Yeah.
It'd be extremely difficult to defend them, right? There you go.
Did bombers play as much of a role in World War I as they did in World War II?
Not even remotely as much of a role. They were a thing, though. which is something not a lot of people know about. The Germans actually tried to bomb London at one point.
Well, and I know they at one point experimented with Zeppelin bombing, if I'm not mistaken.
Experimented with, yes.
Yeah. Don't know how well that actually went for them.
I don't believe well.
Trying to fly a balloon over someone and drop bombs on them when they have airplanes doesn't seem like a winning proposition.
Yeah, it's just that's something to illustrate. Is one of the principles of fighter-to-fighter combat is disruption, so you can shoot down the bigger, slower, much less maneuverable bombers, right?
Uh-huh.
In sort of modern in World War II. Can you imagine having to actually protect a fleet of bombers in combat like this? It's difficult. The very fact that you're being attacked by other fighters.
He's going that way. We're going after him.
Oh yeah. That's another thing, is if you were trying to retreat from a combat like this, you'd be in bad shape.
Absolutely, you had to fight.
So that took a little longer because I'm still getting acquainted to these controls.
I think it was still fun.
Oh yeah.
To hell with base.
How much fuel do we have?
Oh.
Shoot.
Take cover. Whoa, look at that.
Gonna inadvertently discover something significant because our pilot is a hothead.
Troop movements, man. Troop positions.
Yeah.
This is why airplanes were introduced to war. It wasn't to fight, it was to do that.
Let's get these bitches back to base immediately!
That's how we accidentally discovered where Germans were keeping their munitions for half the Western Front. And Wilson's pictures would help HQ launch a major assault. There was just one problem.
I'm not sure about this.
Come on. We did a great thing. We'll get medals for this.
We weren't even supposed to be there.
When the commander sees these pictures, he won't care. We did a great thing. We can do it again.
Here's the thing. Military brass doesn't necessarily give you a pass
Yeah.
for dereliction if you had a great result.
One piece. Sure thing. Promise. I need your word.
Okay, I promise.
It's not a promise you can necessarily
Especially if you
keep.
bound and confined a superior officer.
And don't cause any
I
trouble.
don't think they would necessarily look the other way on that one.
Probably
You know,
not.
I did like the guy. But he was kind of naive.
Sir, you might want to take a look at these. Saints alive, your man must be
One hell of a pilot.
You're goddamn right.
Before we knew it, we were back in the air. Our mission? To clear the way for the bombers so they could blow that fortress all to hell.
Oh man.
First, we'd have to down the barrage blimps. Jesus, imagine being a lookout on a blimp. Bad luck, Fritz. Next, we'd have to deal with their anti-aircraft trucks.
Do you recognize this? This is
The
the
assault was
same,
already in full
I
swing
think
when
this
we
is
got
the
there.
same map that,
all those defenses, then escort our bombers to their
the
target
tutorial
when they
mission
arrive.
took place on.
Tall order.
Probably.
Victory here could change the course of the whole damn war, they said. Safe to
Whoops.
say, Wilson is less than thrilled.
Change
Look at this battlefield. Did they mention what battle this was? I was looking at the bottom of my glass.
They didn't actually.
All right.
Down those blimps! Clear the way for our bombers!
Easy enough. Watch my back.
And I think we're probably in 1918 here, man. So bombing is happening from the sky, and anti-aircraft is happening. And yep, you are now in a pitched air battle, so you are against dozens of enemy fighters.
Balloon down!
Thanks for
You
that,
guys
guy.
don't look at explosions! Yeah, I think we're demonstrating here exactly why blimps did not become a lasting feature of warfare.
You're damn right. Too stationary.
Too stationary and too fragile. Like, you can't put armor on it. And all it takes is one thing to puncture it.
Black guns taking position below!
I see them.
Let's
Yep.
put them out of action, quickly!
absolutely, you've got to put them out of action.
Oh, shit. That was my bad. I couldn't decide if I wanted to loop or if I wanted to... Okay, so we're in 1917. Couldn't decide if I wanted to loop or if I wanted to try to pull up, and I did a little bit of each and ended up running directly into the ground.
Let's put them out of action, quickly!
Where are they? Destroy enemy AA trucks from the air. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Come on, we have to do something about
I play StarCraft. You send ground units to take out anti-air.
it on our tail.
And then you send air units to take out ground forces.
Yeah, but there's a certain element of, you know, protecting yourself, too. You gotta take care of those flat guns or they'll do that.
Oh, shit! Okay, we're okay. We're okay.
Repair,
We're
repair,
okay.
repair,
We're
repair,
okay.
repair, repair.
We're okay. We're okay. R2. Get this thing
Come
flying.
on, R2. We gotta get these shield off so we'll both be killed. As Jake Lloyd stated with very little acting ability.
Much of the dogfighting in Star Wars movies was inspired by old World War II serials, by the way. Not World War I, but, you know, same... Roughly the same era.
And the nucleus of the tactics is the same.
Just a few of those
There we go.
left.
Getting the hang of this, bruh.
Yeah. I'd say I'm becoming one hell of a pilot. In a game where your airplane can take multiple hits and be fine. Alright.
Nice work there.
I'd repair a little bit.
Why
while you're
not?
up. Oh, yeah.
I do wish I could switch to cockpit view, though.
Yeah.
This would be more immersive if...
Follow the bomber formation in. Keep those fighters off.
And this is where we encounter the challenge of escorting via aircraft. This was not fun.
We've lost the bomber. They
Shit.
have to make it to the fortress, or this mission is bust.
I know.
Trying a very video gamey strategy of slowing down and
Hold tight.
letting them pass me.
But you're following a bomber that's smoking, so you can't see, which is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, these.
The usage of smoke in this game has actually been one of the cooler elements of this campaign.
Right down.
See? I told you I'd take care of you.
It's really hard to get a bead.
Stop it.
Shit! Shit! Oh, and then the wing just snaps back into place. There we go.
Yeah, because that
Oh,
happened.
shit.
Bombs on target.
We've hit them hard, but the fortress is still standing. We need to keep it up.
Alright, let's engage.
Heading in soon.
Yeah, and fighters are swarming in.
Got a formation up ahead. Starting to split off. Oh,
Yeah,
those are ours.
it is very hard to protect bombers, is the point I was making even in the first mission.
Yep.
If you gotta make the most of your opportunities, like when they're flying close together and straight, like you did there, at least it's like they can't survive that.
And it looks like my wingmates are
Competent.
competent in this mission, yeah. Is he still alive? He's on fire! He should have died from, like, third-degree burns or his fist asphyxiation if he's been on fire that long.
Hold on.
Yeah, that would be something I would like to see. Like, when damage gets to
I
a
know.
certain point, your health should start, like, deteriorating over time.
We do like this game a lot, but as history nerds, we feel
Keep your head down.
obligated to criticize some of the more
Well,
Hollywoodized...
it's less criticizing and more
Yeah.
pointing out. This is fun.
It is
Which
fun.
is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh, are those AA guns that they're
Yeah, we
showing?
should probably take those down for the sake of the bombers.
Next bomber wave coming in.
Then let's give him an escort.
They'll appreciate what you just did.
This ain't for the timid, man.
Not
This
even.
ain't a job for the timid.
All right, go protect them.
We got one more AA truck. Hold the fuck up. Okay, that would have been bad news if this were a more sim style game. We kind of bumped to the ground. That's a fatal mistake in actual aviation. In Battlefield, it is a somewhat smaller one. It is really hard to keep a beat on these guys. You just can't get the plane to stay level and on a line for any length of time.
Well, again, you want to talk realism? Let's talk realism.
That's some realism. I'll give them that. Also, I feel like I'd be doing better if I plug my joystick in, but complaining about the controls is something that scrubs do, and so I will not be indulging in it overly much.
A scrub is a guy who thinks he's fly, and he's also known as a buster.
He is.
Always think about what he wants.
Way to go, but it's not over yet.
Nope,
Scrub
I don't
is a
really
guy who
need.
don't get no service stars from me. That's for sure.
I don't really need your number. I don't want to give you mine, and no.
Yeah. How do they keep getting trucks into position? Do we have ground forces? Are they doing anything?
No, we're on a bombing raid, man. We're ahead of the assault, I would imagine. Are you escorting the bombers? Okay, good.
Yeah, we're escorting the bombers.
And you're gonna have to wait for another wave to
Right.
actually take out the, Oh, once again, you...
We're still in one piece, dude.
Your heart's gonna have trouble later in life.
Yeah. We would actually be experiencing a significant degree of G-Force-related blackout and redout at this point. Another reason you should, if you can get a hold of it, play the classic Combat Flight Sim IL-2 Sturmovik. Considered one of the best flight sims of all time, because it actually simulates stuff like you can't just pitch up or down at extreme speeds without passing out. It's a very detailed and interesting game.
There is a lovely place in gaming for sims that are that.
No, we just got a like on this video from the hardcore flight sim people for me name dropping that.
I mean, this is hardcore. This is not necessarily a hardcore flight simulator, but you remember Chuck Yeager?
Yeah.
I used to play a lot of that game, man.
Yeah.
That is old school. That
for a second, I thought you were saying, "Do you remember Chuck Yeager, like the guy?" And I'm like, "I'm aware of him. I never met him."
I'm aware of Chuck Yeager. I'm aware he's a guy. He's around. He broke the sound barrier. He's a cool dude. No, he had an air combat sim in the friggin' 90s, if I recall.
Yeah, I think IL-2 was maybe early 2000s, like maybe 2000.
Now, my grandpa, crusty dude. Like, we're talking, he's not a huge fan of modernity, but he played computer games, and he played Western shooters and flight sims in the 90s, and he was the only one I knew, other than my friends at school, who played video games.
Nice.
So whenever we'd go over to his house, I'd play his flight sims.
I love flight sims. F6. There was an F-16 one that was pretty good from like the late 90s, early 2000. I can't remember what it was. F-16 Fighting Eagles or Fighting Falcons or something like that. Yeah, I enjoy a good flight sim now and then.
Yeah, I hear you.
Particularly combat flight sims. If there are any good ones out there right now that we should be aware of, feel free to let us know, and maybe we'll give them a look on the channel if you're one of those flight sim aficionados. I know Andy Mahood was always like the sim guy at PC Gamer. I'm not sure if he's still writing for them.
It's hard to... we're not doing it so good on this Escort.
Yeah, I haven't really been paying attention to the bombers. I've just been kind of shooting stuff when I see it.
Well, we only need one more direct hit.
Yeah.
You gotta repair, man.
Yeah, let's do that.
Bomb it down! That was the last one!
You
Did we lose the mission?
Yep.
Enemy fire! Enemy fire! We're getting pulverized!
There we go.
Made it through!
Yes.
Nice strategic bombing.